Well, 6 changes as far as the Bulldogs are concerned. Some big names are back, including number 7. Taking a look at Sydney's lineup, a couple of changes. Nice game for Sam Reid to return to, Tim.
Yeah, it is, and that's been one of their real problems. The Western Bulldogs has been able to stop sides from scoring, so you'd think that he's going to get a lot of opportunities. Just looking at some of the stars that we need to keep an eye on today. Matthew Boyd, you know what you're going to get with Matthew Boyd. I mean, he's just such a super.
You're going to get 30 possessions.
Exactly
yes.
right. You're going to get 5 clearances, you're going to get 30 possessions, and you're going to get a bloke that plays from siren to siren. Daniel Hanbury, he's become a real super player on the outside, often goes to a really important midfielder in the opposition. Jetta, that speed on the outside, will pick and go to him. And Adam Cooney, what can we expect from him this afternoon when he eventually makes his way onto the park?
Tim, I reckon it's a big day for Marty Mattner. I reckon he's down at the moment. I reckon his numbers are pretty ordinary. I'm not saying he's likely to be dropped before the finals, but I think Mattner needs to play well today.
We'll keep an eye on him, and Picken has gone to Jetta.
Sydney, a chance to go a game clear, massive percentage, and they will finish with Hawthorn and Geelong. Wonder whether Buddy will be back next week. Here's Kennedy taken down after the bounce. Minson on top of the pack there. Grabbed by Mumford, and the umpire will do the business again. The umpires this afternoon, Fleur, Mollison and Bannister.
Bird has gone to Murphy too, so they're going to try and stop his run.
Smith did nicely. Griffin, Peckin swings it wide. Johannesson gave it across to Smith. And now Minson. Minson forward, of left half forward. On the break is Jan Siracusa demanding the football, but it won't get there. Coming across in front of him is Griffin. He's marked just outside the 50, wants to go, sends it down towards full forward. Beautiful kick. I reckon he spotted that man, Brian Lake. 2 men in front of him, 2 behind him, and somehow he managed to drop it in there, did Ryan Griffin. That's the difference a quality player makes. Look at that.
It's a long, direct, low kick, isn't it? And absolutely no one on him then, too. They're not one Swan defender within 5 metres of Brian Lake.
This is the start they need then. Brian Lake directly in front. Bit of a powwow going on behind there, as you can see. What the heck happened is the question. Lake comes in, jams it onto the boot and puts it through. That was real good stuff by Brian Lake there, but the work was done up the field by Ryan Griffin. Pulled out late last week with a back spasm before the game. That really did hurt them. Had enough problems without that happening. Of course, they get some players back today, but Griffin has pace and he has a beautiful kick. And a fast kick is a valuable commodity in this day and age. The ball got to this man before anyone could close him down.
He kicked 2 last week, Lake, against the Tigers. He had some chances too, probably to kick 4 or 5, I thought, against the Tigers.
The great sign then was Griffin just breaking out of the centre and providing a target at half forward.
Well, Dougie Hawkins called him a Rolls Royce early in the year, and I think most of us thought he was going like that, Griffin. Here's Boyd to centre half forward. Richards, we've talked a fair bit about in the pre-game how well he's going. Higgins, another one of the quality players back. Gian Siracusa. Jack wraps him up, and it'll be a ball up. Just to see those names, Higgins, Wood, Griffin, Cooney and Markovic. I mean, I know Cooney's subbed and he's not at his top, but it makes a difference to the lineup, doesn't it?
It does.
That said, they've got...
Must give the other younger, less experienced players, some real confidence too, to see those players out there.
Well, they've got 5 rookies, Tim, 4 blokes that haven't played 10 and 7 that haven't played 20. So, and the Swans, Parker with 25s at least. So there's a big difference in experience. Here's Jetta. Not so many goals lately, but a great season. 39 goals in total. Used O'Keefe and then goes back. Bird's been very good, hasn't he? On the left foot to half forward. Some good stuff at the back there by Roberts. And then Hanbury. And then Kennedy, well done. McGlynn's within range. There's a goal. He went bang, low and straight.
Look at the hands end from Kennedy. The goal assist. The handball from congestion. He had 40 touches last week. Kennedy, that was his career high. Just watch this handball again. There's the first flick and then bang. I mean, that is just such an instinctive handball, but it put Benny McGlynn into some space again. Just watch it. Hanbury goes in and wins the ball. Kennedy, first thought to get the ball on again, player forward of the ball, and that's a great finish by McGlynn. That's where they're so dangerous on the spread, the Sydney Swans.
Big job too for Easton Wood playing on Adam Goods. Like Easton Wood, he's a good player, but that'll test him, giving away some strength. Has plenty of pace, athleticism. Rucks go at it on the way down. Minson, he's rucking well this year. Got it down to Smith decisively towards half forward. Worked under the ball. Addison could have almost got a free kick. This is Dixon. We like him too. He lines up and kicks a goal. I think so. Troy Dixon.
Gee, this is a good start, isn't it, of this match?
I'll say.
They've set a high standard, Dennis, in the first 3 minutes or whatever.
There's a tempo developing here, Bruce. Goal for goal, sort of. If Sydney get the next one, Tim.
Well, they're not a free-scoring side, the Western Bulldogs. We know that. They've only been averaging about 8 goals for the last 9 weeks. So this is a really promising start. I'm sure this is what Brendan McCarthy's been trying to teach them and get into their game, is just to have the confidence to take it on and move the ball quickly. Here we go. I mean, Dixon, he is a really lively player. And we talked about him last week, didn't we, Dennis, about if he'd had more opportunities, how many goals this bloke might have been able to kick this season for the Dogs.
What do you got for us, Kirky?
The centre-bounce clearances, the Bulldogs are elite. The Swans won't want to have a shootout in there, so look to him go a bit more defensive, I think.
So 20 goals for Dixon in his first season. Dogs only averaged 2 goals in the first quarter all season, and they've got a couple within 5 minutes. So well done, Lin Jongman getting the ball out. Griffin, good to see him back, isn't it? What a fine player. Smith, good, wraps him up. And I think that might be a ball up.
Clay Smith started really well. He's got the job of curbing Kieran Jack today. He's a goal-kicking midfield, Kieran Jack, so they'll watch him going forward.
They've got a few of that, haven't they? The Swans have been one of their strengths. Their midfield goal kickers, Kennedy and Jack and O'Keefe and McVeigh, all getting involved there. McVeigh to half-forward Wood, who's missed the last 5 matches, but is he at his top physically? He's a good match for Goods because of his athleticism.
Yeah, he is, and he won that first battle there in a battle of strength.
Johannisen, hard against the boundary, got it from Boyd. Drives towards half forward. Not a great kick though. Richards tracks it back. Coming up to middle, Jan Siracusa. He's tackled down hard by Smith. It rolls across towards Lake, who tried to go through. Nothing doing. That ball's still in there. There's a couple of packs, and the umpire will ball it up.
And as I mentioned pre-game, T. Richards is the #1 intercept player in the competition. He's already drifted back, so he's playing free now inside the Swans' defensive 50.
Don't have the figures in front of me, but Minson is rucking as well as anyone in the competition right now. Third man up that time, or third man stationary, as O'Keefe got a hand to it. Here's Lake running down towards the 50. Opportunity for Kennedy at close quarters to Bird. Bounces it along the wing. Very close to the boundary line. Look out. Oh. Well, that was a gutsy performance by Jean. Just put his head down. Thought for a moment he was going to get cleaned up. Well, he had no hesitation tracking it back into unexplored territory and then putting the head down. He won the free kick. He earned it.
Sure did. So Grundy at the back, and that one off Boyd. So a bit stiff there, Boyd.
Good matchup that too, isn't it? Boyd against O'Keefe. O'Keefe already, this is about his 4th possession in the game so far, so he's had a lively start.
And finds Gucci. The coach of the Dogs will like what he just saw with Jong a moment ago, didn't he? So good. That's a testing kick for Minson. Going to get over the back. Murphy gets back to sweep. Gets to Roberts out wide. Skinner. Good to see him have some continuity as a footballer. Did a couple of good things last week, I thought, Skinner. And then on the left foot out wide, Malcheski committed himself, which was interesting. Sure to go to Dixon. Well played, Dixon. And he gets a bit on that, doesn't he? Cordy and Grundy. Cordy had a little bit of it. And here's Richards, who Tim was talking about, is playing that loosey, but he doesn't get it far. Well, he gets it too far away, but straight to Dixon, who's having a pretty good first quarter. And he's going to kick a second goal, you'd reckon.
I like what the Bulldogs did that last time they went inside 52, Dennis. The fact that they were prepared to go long. They'd set Cordy up. It's his job to make sure that he occupies that part of the ground, which is deep in the forward line. He'd provide the target.
Passive, you didn't. Passive? Hey, sorry. Tory, that's your line. Ted, right out.
So he's kicked 20 goals, Dixon. He's 24 years of age. He didn't kick goals in his first couple of games, so he's actually done really, he's almost averaged 2 goals a game from his 3rd game of AFL League footy, and he's kicked a couple in the first quarter, and it's a good start.
Yeah, they're showing a lot of energy, these Dogs. Up and about. It's amazing. The good players come back in, and we saw Griffin very early, but really it's been some of the lesser lights so far, because I think obviously they're buoyed by the fact the big names are back in. Players aren't fools. They look at the team in the paper and think, we've got a chance or we haven't. And today maybe they see those names there and they think they are a chance, and that's terrific.
See, Adam Cooney, we wouldn't expect to see him out on the ground till the second half of the game. I reckon they'd be thinking about maybe 30% of the game. But the interesting thing for the Dogs so far, 15-9 uncontested possessions, and that is an area that they've really been able to win this season, the Dogs.
Minson again gets it down to Wallace. Boyd confronted, came back to him, got WBull, kicks it straight up in the air. Johannesson combines with Zhang. Zhang knows no fear when it goes putting that head down. He's got a good head of hair, but I don't think that's going to do the job if he gets whacked. There's Griffin. Oh, Markovic left it behind. Applies a strong tackle. It's going to be a free kick though to Jack.
You can't overpossess the footy against Sydney. They'll tackle you every time.
Especially when Jack is lurking. Well, he kicks inside the forward 50. That was an interesting one for Dixon, who benefited from a similar situation at the other end. He was very hesitant to put pressure on before the call of play on, as he had to be. Minson comes up and takes the mark. Now, as I said, don't have the figures, but in the games I've seen, and we've seen a bit of Footscray stroke the Western Bulldogs in the last few weeks, he's been rucking in terrific form, using the ball really well, not just hitting it, but getting it to advantage. He gave it to Roberts. Roberts goes looking for Skinner, and the ball comes off his fingertips and goes out of bounds.
I'm with you, Dennis. As a ruckman, you want to do competitive and love the contest, and Minson does it every time.
Boundary throw in then. He's up against Mike Pike this time. He wins it again. Found a man again. Wallace. Boyd in trouble.
Trying to get it out. Now Griffin again. The other thing I noticed, Tim, is that both Mumford and Pike are playing now. I haven't seen the Swans been away a little bit, but they're both playing early on the game ground at the same time.
Yep, and it's been a really good winning combination for them the last month too.
I'm chatting with Mike Pike at half-time, which will be great. What a season he's having and what a career. So now Chesky 2 full forward. Goods was lurking. Here is Mumford trying to get through the mummy, and he's wrapped up, still wrapped up. You know, mummies do get wrapped up. And now Griffin trying to get it out. Griffin Eastonwood trying to get it out. And then, well, if you're Lou Richards, you'd say Stacks on the mill, then, wouldn't you?
Yes. Or last year with young Stack playing, it would have been Mill on the stack, but it was all good.
There's an energy about the Western Bulldogs today, though.
Yep. Mike Pike goes after the footy. Dangerous spot. Taking it back is Zhang. Gee, we like the look of him. I mean, he is fearless, the young fella.
Tell what he's got, Dennis. He's got a good pair of legs. He's a kid, I know, but he's got some strength through the hips and legs.
Sounds like we're taking inventory. Good head of hair. We're just ticking them off.
Where are his teeth like?
Kirky's down there for that. He's our master of the
We'll
team.
give him a check him a quarter time.
Get some charcoal. There's Higgins. Don't go down that street again. Short one comes from Boyd, chopped off by Mumford. Slips a hand pass across to Malcheski. Brilliant smother there. The skipper diving across his boot. Boyd. Eastonwood is standing up back there as well. Gave it to Roughhead, standing his ground in front like a roadblock was Adam Goods. Roughhead bounced off him but did well. Watch this again. That's just simple courage because you're going very close to the boot.
Kicking in danger.
Griffin's already up to 6.
No, he's been terrific. Good squeeze as one. Roughhead. Now he just has to stop and prop. He wants some run. So Young's kick. Skinner stretched hard. It was a hard one for him. Well played, Matner. And now Jack. He's a good player, Jack. And he saw Reid and he squeezed it out. Great to have Reid back. I mean, he's missed the last couple. You feel if Sydney are going to be big in September, Reid's got to be playing.
Yep. And that kick, look, he's just a young kid, but that's the one that has to hit the target because it leads to the turnover, and on that part of the ground, it is a dangerous part to be turning the ball over, as you can see now. Reid with his chance to kick a goal. He
kicked 20 goals in his last 8 matches before he missed a couple, and that with a little hook, not coming back, and a miss.
I reckon, though, McCarthy be happy with what he's seen so far in terms of their desire and their commitment to the task. Even with Jong, I mean, the runner might go out to him and just say, mate, just make sure you lower your eyes and just hit that kick with a bit more composure.
John Syracuse up very high, taken by McVeigh, went to Smith. Across to Jack, he drives it down towards half forward. Young again put himself in, did nicely. Markovic got the crumb about 20 metres away. Gave it to Higgins. Higgins over the top to Lake. Dixon is running hard. I think he trusts Dixon, so he might go there. Now he goes beyond him. Higgins has dropped into that hole, reaching over the top. Johnson got a fist on it for Sydney. Comes to Wallace, having a heck of a season. Wallace quietly just gets the football, comes to Higgins, comes back to Ace Cordy, charged down by Johnson. Johnson does well at the interchange gates to Parker. Parker gives it to Hanbury, back to Johnson. Johnson to space. A couple of players making a decision down there. Initially, Reid, I think, was going to come back for the ball, spotted Goods, and Goods didn't mark it, but he's got the free kick.
Gee, they surge on the turnover, don't they? The Sydney Swans. The forwards had pushed up the ground, and then Reid just took off like a rabbit into that space, but the kick didn't get there. You just see him in the background here, maybe. I mean, that's definitely a free kick there. He's there just entering the frame.
Adam Goods then, from right on the 50, demands something of a player deep in the pocket. That's Reid. Bounces in front of him, hooks it towards the square, and Mike Pike takes the mark 5 metres out. And Young copped one, I think.
Gee, Goods, he's got a...
That was an intentional kick, though.
Yeah, what an imagination, though.
Yep, he was hoping that Reid picked up where the ball was going a bit quicker than what he did, and that's a really good strong mark from Pike.
Poor old John got the drive-by then. He was just standing there minding his own business and got the boot. Here's Pike. And he puts it through. So the margin is 4 points. And Mike Pike an improving play, but that's a hard way to get a goal. They sort of went to the pocket and then back to the middle, and one sense that Goods would have gone pretty close from where the man on the mark was, just inside the 50. Anyway, they got the goal, and Sydney just needed that because the Bulldogs are playing with a fair degree of confidence at the moment.
Just watch this kick from Adam Goods. He just pulls the kick at the last minute to that space, and it almost gets to Reid, and that's something that Roughhead's going to have in the back of his mind next time they have a kick at that part of the ground, and he's guarding Reid.
Minson got over. Mumford did well, but cut off by Parker. Gee, Griffin's been good early. Boyd and Griffin. How many's he had, Dennis? And Murphy on the burst here. Murphy's kick out wide to Skinner, just a bit too tall for him. Dixon's been very, very good in this opening term. Becky goes to Jakura, got down low Jakura, but then he kicked it into the man, and then Kennedy quite cleverly actually gets the ball away. Young look away to Boyd, Boyd to fall forward. Lake, it's always a chance, Lake. Richards at the back, and Addison runs it through for a goal, and they've kicked 4 in the first quarter, something they haven't done since round 1. How many's he had, Griffin? Sorry, I got carried away. Sorry, I can't see without my glasses.
Eight.
Bruce.
Thank you, Dean. Gee, I hope they've got the same energy halfway through the last quarter, the Dogs, that they have. We've got a good game, haven't we?
They're playing an exciting brand of football too, aren't they? 11 marks to 3 to Sydney, so they've been able to actually get the ball on the outside. And this bloke, since he went forward, I mean, Dennis talked about him last week, he actually shows the aptitude of a forward, Addison.
And Dixon's a handful. I'm not sure he's got Dixon at the moment, but whoever's got him has had a bad first quarter.
The Bulldogs have started really strongly, and it's on a lot of the work of Ryan Griffin. He's a player the Swans generally put a lot of work into, and it's surprising they're giving him so much time and space.
So the bounce back in the middle. Minson kept his powder dry, got the tag, but it's kicking in danger. The free kick goes to O'Keefe, plays on immediately to Jetta, kicks it down towards half forward. Roberts Thompson stifled it. Good sends it forward, and Pike gets on the end of it again.
That's just reading the play, just a quick kick. Generally, it's the forward that is first to react.
Yeah, even if he's a Canadian. So he's fitting in very nicely now, Mike Pike, and would be one of the most improved players in the competition. And Sydney showing a lot of faith these days. And he comes, and he puts it through. So just 4 points the difference again.
Just the second time Pike's kicked 2 in a match. He actually did against the Dogs last year.
Well, he's causing a few problems down there, isn't he, with his height and his agility. He's quite agile. I remember seeing him run that try in for Canada.
Yeah.
He's got a bit of toe, and that time he was just quicker off the mark than Roughhead. Roughhead was probably 3 paces behind when they started and finished about 5 behind.
Didn't really strike it, to be honest, but he kicked it straight enough. What a great job he's done. I mean, we've always felt CB Mumford wasn't going to work. It was one or the other, but this guy's forced John Longmire basically to play the 2 tools, hasn't he?
Absolutely.
And they're both doing so well. So out of the centre again, and that was Lin Yong, who's had a really good opening here. Dixon's been very important early. Smith, well, he fell backwards over Dixon. Grundy, little wobbly one, doesn't get far. Picken, and a boundary throw in.
Young's up to 6 disposals in this first quarter, but it doesn't really tell the complete picture of his game either, because he's been really desperate on a number of occasions when he hasn't gained possession of the ball. Just pressure acts.
Combative, hasn't he? He's been really good. So Mumford, Kennedy back, a bit sloppy the handball. Jack got it from Smith, and then Jack on the left. Roberts Thompson front spot, well played at the back by Markovic. And here he is, Tim, had another one. So make it 7.
This is exciting stuff, really.
It is.
Spoke to Brendan last week, Brendan McCartney, the coach, and he said some players have disappointed him playing the youngsters, others have surprised him. I reckon that Yong fits into that latter category. They got to him late. Had a lot of injuries by the time he made his debut. That was last week. But gee, I think they found a player there. Touch ball, back goes Richards in the back pocket. Terry running out of space. Oh, well done. She's got some poise now, some self-belief. Gave it to Smith. Kicks it back outside the 50. Good mark taken by Boyd. Against the taller opponent. Gives it to Easton Wood. Sends it back inside the 50. Richards once more. Launched himself. Couldn't take the mark. Johnson's got it. Tackled by Dixon. Dixon takes him down. The hand pass intercepted by Higgins. Can he keep it in? Goes to Gian Siracusa. Stumbles. And the stumble helped him. He got the bounce as a result. Jumped over the head of McVeigh and went through for a goal.
He's the leading goal kicker, Gian Siracusa. That was well done. I mean, Higgins did a good job there, because he could have blazed once he got the ball, but he actually forced the issue and got the ball to Gian Siracusa with a bit of luck in the end. But he's a clever player, Gian Siracusa. Got the right bounce. McVeigh tried everything he could do.
Now, he could win the goal kicking with under 30, couldn't he?
Yeah, he's 26, isn't he? Something, yeah.
Long time since that's happened. I think it happened in Mick's watch. Maybe Mick's final year. Yep, Campbell.
Well,
I think had 26, somewhere there. I'm telling you, Bruce. I don't trust me to tell you anything. I'm just babbling on.
No, I'm listening to everything you're saying. I'm writing it down in my ledger.
Don't.
Quote me in a minute. Here's O'Keefe's quick kick out. So this has been a fantastic first quarter. Markovic belts it away, and the Dogs going forward. And every time they've got it forward, they have looked like they would score. Higgins was involved in the last one. That's high. Jakura's going to get a free kick. And the Western Bulldogs have been a revelation so far. It's early days, and this must be their biggest first quarter for the season. In fact, it is. They kicked 4 goals, 3. In the round 1, the only other time they kicked 4 goals in the opening term this year.
And they've been so static in the way they've played in recent times too, and it's already evident that every time they get the opportunity, they're trying to play on. As you see John Longmire just explaining something to his line coaches that he doesn't like.
No.
So already with their best first quarter for the season, and that just spoils it a bit, doesn't it? Got to get those. I mean, Jakura's been an in and out. He hasn't had an opportunity really to secure himself. He knows. You just got to kick him.
Griffin's up to 10 now, and I think, as Kirky said earlier in the quarter, they'll be looking to make some changes and really tightening up on him at quarter time.
Sure, goes long. That's a beautiful kick under the chest of Johnson, hard against the boundary line. No margin for error there. While I'm on a roll, Bruce, I think their average score during their 8 losses is 7 goals a game, so they could actually better that in the first term. They've still got 6 minutes to go. Here's Shaw. Oops. Just not tuned in at the moment, Sydney. Shaw goes back to Grundy. Grundy comes out wide. Richards, forward at left half back. Decides to run it up. Looks down towards half forward. High ball. Wallace checks Jack off the ball. Should have been a free kick. Opportunity for Markovic. Dragged down. Ball runs free. But now Jack having a bit to say, I think, to the umpire as he turned around there.
Just watching Brian Lake come off the ground. He's blowing like a bush horse.
Bush horse. There's the throw in right on the 50. One down by Pike. In front, the hand pass came from Griffin to Boyd. Cooperating well to Higgins. 3 players back in this afternoon. Well, 2. Boyd was there last week, but suddenly, with the help, he's getting a lot of touches, as he normally does, but to better effect than last week. Now Skinner gets a free kick. Johnson can't believe it. Skinner's got the ball 60 metres out, plays onto Higgins, vacant goal square, goes for space. Cordy is edged under the football. He's going to get a free kick.
There's two actions. You bumped him, you went up like that.
Ah, yes, the umpire is right. Two actions, Tim.
Yep. You can't take a bloke out of a contest like that. That's a good decision. And just a mismatch of height there, which really caused it for...
Time back on.
So, with 5 minutes to go in the term, Ace Cordy is looking at the Bulldogs' 6th goal. Brendan McCartney said, amazing what happened last night. It shows anyone can beat anyone. Dare we think it? The top three all losing the one weekend. He puts it through.
So back in the team, Cordy. Got a lot of inclusions today. We've got Higgins and Wood and Griffin and Cooney and Markovic and Cordy. So 6 in, but for the Swans, well, this is the first time this season they've actually conceded such a score in the first quarter, but they're a hard team to score against. And yet the Dogs have been able to kick 6 first-quarter goals, and they missed a sitter, to be truthful. It should be 7. Every time they get the ball on the side of the field, 50 think they're going to score.
They've looked dangerous. Is that free kick again? And look, it's a really difficult one as a defender because he's got to get the jump. I mean, what he needed to do was jump early and then just try and spoil Cordy. But when you've got a mismatch of size like that, it's a difficult equation.
So the biggest first-quarter score for the Dogs and the biggest conceded by the Swans. And Griffin, who's had a magnificent opening term, has just missed. How many has he got, Tim?
13 now, and he's been the most dangerous player by a mile on the ground. So they're going to have to shut him down. Kirky, who do you think they'll go to?
They might put Bird, I think, take Bird off Murphy and bring him across to Griffin. He's just doing too much damage at the moment.
They could borrow Pickett and put him on him.
What about Hanbury?
Yeah, he's definitely a possibility. He sometimes plays a run with roll through the midfield.
Hanbury's on the wing then. That is one of the worst things in footy, to go onto a hot player, though, isn't it? There's the mark taken by Markovic.
They're very tough, Dennis. If they're up, they've got their tails up and they've had a fair bit of the ball, it's hard to curb them.
Across the ground, Skinner lays it off. Jakira does nicely through midfield, kicks it down towards half. The kick not so good, though. Overcooked it. Dixon was leading. He was under the ball, and the mark is taken by Matner, who Bruce mentioned earlier. Needs to find some form. He's an important player. Gives them plenty of run when he's going. Here's Kennedy. Does exactly that. Runs it down towards half forward. Takes something off the kick. Well played, Murphy. Got a fist in there. Kennedy kept coming, though. Not to be outdone. Goes down towards full forward. Markovic dropping back. Takes the mark in the goal square. Good game of footy.
It is, and good safe hands twice now by Markovic. And this fella we've talked a lot about. It's not Dowhouse, Young, but he's playing with energy like Dowhouse, isn't he? Out wide. He's had a great first quarter, has Lin Yong here today. Just his second game. Roughhead with a high long ball. Now Goods and Wood. Good contest. Wood front spot. Well played there by Addison to Wood to Picken. And then Picken over. Which Goods flattened Picken there. Must have owed him one from about the last 3 times they play. I reckon everyone owes Picken one. Quick kick by Smith.
There's
to
Pickett's
Jetta.
opponent there. Just slipped out the back.
Well, that's what you've got to do if they're running a tag on a bloke like Jetta, is somebody...
Yep.
Give him one.
Give him one as often as you can. They're a team responsibility.
So Jetta the full forward. Reed just pushed out by Markovic. And now Griffin. So what a quarter. Wallace, Murphy, back to Roughhead. Got away with it, Roughhead. Now Minson, and Minson's kick. He asked a bit, but they were up for it. Gee, this is exciting. Here's Smith.
Smith, a dasher from half back to half forward. Now, they can't possibly win this contest. Addison's a goer, but he's surrounded by 3 Sydney players. Johnson, O'Keefe, who played his 250th on this ground just a few weeks ago, across the ground, missed by Grundy. Just making unforced errors. Now Goods, he'll let it bounce, hoping for a favourable one, but Easton Wood backed himself against the football. Goods comes over the top, hand passed off the deck there by Boyd. Going to the ground, taking a sprawl was Bird. Picked up nicely by Boyd, gave it to Griffin. Across it comes to Picken. Picken, like his dad, bursts away from half back, goes down towards half forward. Johnson claims a mark, play on's the call. puts the head down and runs away from half-back. Tall one, McGlynn goes after it. Not that he's tall, the kick was. Skinner goes after him, and McGlynn is taken high.
The Swans just need to take the heat out of the game here. There's no doubt the coach up in the box if you want him just to kick the ball, hold possession, because at the moment it's a shootout. It's played at a cracking pace. I know John Longmire wouldn't be happy with that.
So McGlynn to half forward. Well, just the fact that you've got 38 points against you before quarter time doesn't please anybody, does it? No. I mean, Griffin with 14 first quarter disposals.
And Boyd's had 11 as well, so they've had 25 between them, those two key midfielders.
So Pike at the back. He's had a good first quarter, Pike. So here he goes again, Griffin. So 15. Not sure what the world record is, Dennis. You're good at that. That's a great tackle by Wallace. What's the world record for the first quarter? You normally know that sort of stuff.
I think it's 22, Bruce. Before they kept records. So
John Siracusa to Lake, who started it all in the first minute.
Lake kicks inside the forward 50, punched away by a really beleaguered defence. That really hurt Higgins too. Crashing into the pack there, Jack cleaned him up. Taken by Griffin, another possession. Might have to up my world record. Close to the line. John Siracusa missed the target. Addison trying to clear a path, coming through. Hanbury did well. And eventually, weight of numbers tells the story. Grundy, O'Keefe, back to Grundy. Now he kicks for grass, way out in front of any lead from Kennedy, and the ball just trickles out of bounds, and he's been knocked off. Umpire Bannister joining in. This quarter's got everything. Young gets another possession, goes short, taken by Boyd, who played on. And just for a moment, the Western Bulldogs' Rocky Balboa overstepped the mark. He was dragged down, but the idea was right. He wanted to go. The nostrils were flared.
It was a great tackle, wasn't it, by McGlynn? So the kick to a contest. Roberts, who came in, of course, for Griffin. So what a remarkable opening turn. We didn't expect that. The fans here, and there's not a big crowd. We didn't expect that. That man was terrific, Young. Good couple of touches, but really it was the Dogs, and it was Griffin in particular. He had the most remarkable opening turn. 16. If you times that by 4, 64 possessions today. That is a world record. Quarter time, it's 6 goals, 2 to 3-2.
Collis, of course, had success with the West Coast Eagles as well. Seems to follow him around. Funny that. Here's Griffin again, another possession. He kicks it out towards right half forward, so that's 17 now. Just remembering earlier this season, Gary Ablett posted the record, 53. It's deliberate. Oh, there you go.
And McVeigh's gone to him now, Dennis. See whether or not he can't curb Griffin. The start's not particularly promising for him, is it? A possession to Griffin in the first second. There's just one off the shin there for Teddy Richards.
Well, that's interesting. The guy started off the mark.
Ryan, outside the line, that's it.
Could that have been a boundary throw-in? Apparently not. So Lake's got the footy. Just talking about Ablett with 53 in round 10 against Collingwood. I think that beat the previous record, at least the one that I'm aware of. Peter Featherby's 51 against Melbourne back in the early 80s. Featherby was just a ball magnet. Had the pleasure of interviewing him recently. Interesting customer. Another one that success followed around. The ball goes to the outer side. Best and fairest at Geelong. Tracking it on the outer side. Goods now. Goes to ground, but he's got plenty of support. Bird goes down towards half forward and getting back. Roberts Thompson takes the mark. Maybe John Longmire has just lit a spark.
Gee, they break quickly though, don't they? Yeah. Goods there on the wing, and Jetta was just streaming towards goal. He was actually goal side of Picken, but in the end it was just a beautiful kick from Bird into the space in front of LRT.
What did the boss say? You can't light a fire without a spark. Well, there was plenty of spark in the eyes of John Longmire at quarter time. And will they get the first goal in the opening seconds? Roberts Thompson just out to the right, and through it goes for a minor score.
The stat that's most interesting for me in that first quarter is the 63 to 44 uncontested possessions. Last time they played, they got absolutely smashed, the Dogs, and the Swans have 100 more uncontested possessions. So they're actually been able to spread and get the ball on the outside. And that's pretty much what Montgomery said at quarter time about the fact that they were playing really good, fast footy.
Well, the last time they played, Tim, was 9 goals Sydney without a miss to 1-1 Western Bulldogs at quarter time. Now Goods, who had 5 disposals in the opening term and a couple of... That was well played, Roberts-Thompson, and he gets the goal. Well done, LRT. Good stuff.
Did we see another look-away kick then from Adam Goods?
Might have, yeah. Look, he's... Goodsy actually hasn't had a huge match, but you feel like he's had a bit of an influence already today. But Roberts-Thompson's been... well, John Longmire talked about him in the runes before the match, just the impact he's had forward. Kicked 8 goals in his last 3 games. It's been remanufactured over the last year and a half, hasn't he? He and Teddy Richards were sort of a combination down back, though, joined at the hip.
Well, here's their inability to be able to clear the ball from a defensive position. And Adam Goods, who's so smart with the ball at this part of the ground, and just a really smart kick there, Dellard. Even though it didn't hit the target, it was actually in the right space, Kirky.
That's right. LRT is a super role player. Just does his job. He works so hard. He's kicked 8 goals in the last 3 weeks.
Boys. Came out, went back in.
So ball up, still inside the centre circles. Mumford's watched a lot of football this afternoon. He's down on the bench again. Pike is doing the bulk of their rucking. Locks up with Minson. Minson reaching over the top.
Josh Kennedy, free kick. Josh Kennedy being held.
Gets the free kick away from the ball. There's the base of those 2 ruckmen who are battling. Touched. Markovic comes across, catches it cleanly. Once again, Griffin hooks it up towards the wing, but Smith drops off his man and takes the grab. So Smith just forward of right centre wing for Sydney. They've done all the attacking so far in this quarter. Penetrating kick. Goods in from the side. Falls for Jack. Wallace was there. Coming across on the angle, Jakira. Wood goes back, gives it to Griffin. Everywhere Griffin goes, the footy goes, and when it leaves him, it's like an arrow. He found Lake.
Gee, that was a great kick, Dennis, wasn't it, from Griffin? So Dixon, who was part of that great start for the Dogs, wasn't he?
Yeah, those last 2 kicks for Griffin have come out of the defensive part of the ground. Now, if he's going to get the ball, that would be the part of the ground that Sydney would be least worried about. McVeigh is the hard tag on him now, and he's up to 19, Griffin.
Well, he had 30 in 4 of the first 6 matches he played this year. Hasn't had 30 since then. Had a bit of a down patch, but the Dogs were struggling to win, and he got a bit hurt and wounded.
Well, and he's had the hard tag on him every week too.
Yep. Johannesson now, who's been impressive in the 2 matches he's played, and a bit of confidence. Did a dummy to McGlynn and then kicks the ball beautifully. Well, Jakira should have marked and then tries to push it forward. Second effort, okay. Smith getting involved. Over the back now to Matnett, who got it from Grundy. And then Kennedy. Hanbury was involved with Jack and O'Keefe. That's Griffin again.
He's playing like a man. That's Ryan Griffin.
And so it's been a remarkable effort by him. And then that long bomb. Look at this for a kick to Picken. He's kicked that ball a country mile, Griffin.
That's where he's most dangerous, getting the ball that part of the ground. That is a magnificent kick to Picken. And here's that kick from defence, that first one that got them out of the defensive part of the ground. And then just his attack on the ball, and Ryan O'Keefe just drawn in to give away the free kick. And this is a real win for Picken too on Jeddah, to be able to take him at the other end of the ground and expose him.
I'm not sure how many Griffin's going to get. No one knows. But I don't reckon anyone's got to 20 as quickly as Griffin. He's sitting on 20 right now. And what are we, 3 or 4 minutes into the... Well, 5 minutes into the second quarter. So Picken kicks the goal and the Dogs kick their 7th. I mean, Dennis, how would you know? I mean, you talked to, I think, Ablett 53. Apparently, Greg Williams had 53 for Swan against the Saints. Scotty Thompson got 51 for the Crows against the Suns last year. But not sure if anyone's got to 20 at the 6-minute mark of the second quarter.
No, well, I think we can say they haven't, Bruce, and dare someone to correct us. This has been inspirational stuff.
He's used it so well, hasn't he?
One moment in the defensive goal square, next moment up the ground. How did he do that, Tim? Get from the defensive goal square to about 40 metres out
It's
so
just
quickly.
his running capacity.
Unbelievable.
It's just been an extraordinary bit of play so far from him.
So we're back in the middle, and suddenly this is starting to take on dangerous proportions for Sydney. Talked about the reward they got last night when they weren't playing. The sides below them both losing. Well,
no, you got him high.
This would be like giving it back. McVeigh inside the centre square, but at least now they know there's a game on. Malcheski on the overlap. That's a penetrating kick and a beauty, and Mumford goes up and takes it cleanly.
Well, Big Will was on the mark then, wasn't he? So
Shane.
it was his director, punter Mumford, that just worked. You see, Minson just left a screen there. And Mumford just exploded into the forward line. There was a mismatch. Boyd tried to get to him.
So Mumford with the man on the mark standing at about 35.
Yeah, you locked on there, in line with me.
That's a good view of it. That's a nice kick too. He can do all things pretty well for a big guy. Shane Mumford from Geelong.
Good hold, yeah.
And that's a settler. They needed that one. They're down by 11 points now. And obviously if Mumford goes forward, where is he now? He's coming back to the middle. So they're just alternating their ruckman off the bench. They're not doing anything that's too sneaky. But if they were to throw him forward, you would think that would really stretch the Dogs.
He's lost some weight, Mumford, hasn't he? I mean, he looks so fit these days. Well, they've got 3 goals out of their ruckman today, 2 from Pike and 1 from Mumford. Now, that's way above average. That's a good return for the Swans.
And LR2 as well. He's had an impact on the scoreboard.
Well, he's been doing that a bit lately, LRT, as Kirky told us, 8 in the last 3. Here he goes again. It's Griffin we're talking about. Left foot to half forward. Free kick to Jan Siracusa.
I wonder what plan C is for Ryan Griffin, because they're going to start looking at it pretty soon.
This bloke normally uses the ball pretty well. Jan Siracusa. Is Lake on the end of it? Well, he was pushed out, caught. He couldn't quite rove. He's not quite the right size. Higgins and a boundary throw in. Just how long can the Dogs go goal for goal, though, with the Swans? That's the thing. At the moment, that's what they're doing. They're a couple of goals up. They've been a bit further in front than that, but just got to keep their nose in front, you feel here. Mumford, just a little push out. Wallace in hard with him, Parker. And that ball not coming out. And there'll be a ball up about 20 metres out from the Dogs' goal.
This is where they can be really dangerous, even at this part of the ground, Sydney, because they've pushed all the numbers out. And what they do if they do gain possession of the ball is they spread so hard and run so quickly back the other way.
Skinner, third man up, got it down to Smith. He's tackled at the ground, had the arms free, didn't release the footy. Griffin again. Dixon. Well, that was a clever hand pass. Johannesson sent into space. That was brilliant by Dixon. That's as good as it gets. Dixon, I don't know how this guy has bounced around in minor leagues. One look at him and he looks a complete player. That time he assessed it for Johannesson. He just knew, he looked in front of where he was going and then just lobbed it to that space. And Johannesson, who's a talent in his own right, another one of those guys I think that may have surprised the coach, able to snap it through.
So clever. Tell you what was good there. Skinner's third man up. That was a really good tap by Skinner. Clever.
Well, look at Ryan Griffin again being involved in that passage of play.
And as Dennis said, Dixon, who's just got football smarts. He's just got them. And Johannesson gets his first goal in league footy. So this has been terrific. Kennedy, we're going to get a response from the Swans. We know that. Parker's kicked to centre half forward. That's brilliantly done by Goods. Trapped it magnificently. Left foot, wanted a lot from Hanbury, and Jakura cuts him off. So Jakura to Boyd on the burst. Boyd had a really good first quarter, but everybody was in Griffin's shadow. Down low. Too hard for Jan Siracusa on that occasion. Parker back inside, and Murphy, such a complete player, Murphy. Beautiful player to watch. Takes the mark. Normally a good kick, and he finds Johannesson, who we do like. Only his third game. He kicks the ball to half forward. Shaw at the back, searching for it a bit. Picken running hard, and then Picken floating the ball. He wants it to bounce and then run out, and it's a boundary throw, and that's a good result.
That was all about desire then, Picken, wasn't it? Between two Sydney players, he wanted it more than the other two players.
He's got desperation in spades, Picken.
That's in the DNA, isn't it? His dad was a beauty as well. Falls to the side of the pack. Speaking of the DNA, Jack drives it towards the outer side. Tough hombre. Everyone we mentioned in that little collective run as the ball goes out of bounds on the full.
We've talked about Griffin a lot in this first half. I'm not sure if McVeigh's the right matchup. I think they need to go a really hard tag. Someone who's not worried about winning their own football.
Ryan Griffin streeting everybody on the ground. 22 possessions now. Sparkling stuff. Mike Pike, that's a great grab.
What's the spread here too?
Goods has got it, just circling. Drives it down towards half forward. Reed won't go for it, and perhaps should have. Some indecision there. He expected Jack to come up, but the only man who was watching the footy was Wood.
Play on.
Clay Smith has actually done a pretty good job on Kieran Jack too, the kid.
And Wood's been very good back
big
there.
assignment.
That's not a good kick. Good way to get somebody hurt. Over the head of Smith, knocked away by Johnson. Well done, Jakira. Little combination there with Yong. Kicks it down towards half forward. Up goes Teddy Richards and takes a good grab. 33 games for the Bombers, 142 for the Swans, 10 finals. His development has been a treat to watch. He goes short, finds Jack. Jack to Grundy. Grundy slips it back to Jack.
Well played, wasn't well thought out. This bloke runs and carries so well, Jack. And a penetrating kick. Reed running back, Goods at the back. Good mark, though, by Roughhead. Gee, I reckon the coaching staff at the Dogs must be thinking, this is a very encouraging. Well played, Johannesson to Murphy. Murphy teasing. Siracusa coughed it up. Doesn't do that too often. Bird got involved. Jetta got involved. Target Smith, though, going to the pocket. Boyd getting back. Has a little bit of time to think it through. Boyd bangs it out wide. Smith did well. Got rid of Siracusa. And that ball close to the line. Pike back to Smith. Broke away from Siracusa to Jack. That was well done, Johannesson. And then the ball going forward. Hanbury down low. Roberts got involved. Hanbury, Jack, McGlynn. He might kick this, McGlynn. He does. He's a beauty from there.
And what a difference it makes. What a difference it makes if one of those midfielders actually get free. I've just been watching Clay Smith. He came off the ground. He tried to get off the ground at one stage, couldn't get off. So Kieran Jack's on the other side of the ground. He's had 4 possessions in the time that Clay Smith has actually gone to the bench.
Yeah, no, good point. I was just thinking earlier, the bloke you'd love to put on Griffin right now is down on the boundary for us.
Yes. You see Murphy just running forward. There's the turnover, and that's one of the things that's really hurt the Western Bulldogs. And on the flip side, you see McGlynn just finishing off. Kieran Jack now gone to the bench as well.
Midway through the term, very good bounce. Mumford trying to body Minson. Minson played it brilliantly. Hooked it down to Boyd. Feeds it back to Markovic. Well, not a good kick though from Markovic. Wanders down towards half forward, chopped off by McVeigh. The Beards run together. Malcheski to Reed. Reed turns around, lines it up, aligns himself with goal and kicks another one. Well, fatal flaw coming out of defence, that kick, and they pay for it.
Yeah, Markovic made the best thing that's happened today is that we know the Swans are going to have to play really well to win for a long stretch. That sounds condescending, I know.
And here's the kick. I mean, you've got Wallace forward of Markovic. He doesn't hit the target. Turnover. McVeigh comes into the play. Long kick into their forward line. All the Western Bulldogs players have pushed up like the coaches asked them to do, and that leaves Reed out the back and a really simple goal for the Swans. So the last 2 goals have come from turnovers.
So what happens, Tim? Do we have a bit of a shootout until the Swans get 3 or 4 in front? Is that their mentality and then they close it again?
Look, I think at the moment what they're trying to do is put as much pressure as they possibly can onto every Bulldog possession.
But it's a high-scoring game right now.
It is, and it's not exactly the way they want to play, but it's the way we want the game to go in terms of the entertainment value.
Kirky, you probably know better than most. I'll ask you in a minute about just the psychology of it all from Sydney's point of view. Kennedy going forward, Markovic, Bird, they're surging the Swans. They have got a real taste for it right now. Have a look at this. Bang, left, right and centre. So, Brett, this sort of shootout, I mean, do they want to go all day with it, do you reckon?
I think this ground lends itself to be a shootout ground because of the great conditions, but I don't think the Swans would want this. This is the only 16th stoppage for the game. It's really low for Swans.
Craig Bird probably coming off under the blood rule. Not sure. He is sore, but not sure an umpire saw him with that blood trickling down his face. Still out there, I think, at the moment.
Dennis, last week the Dogs had 38 tackles, which is equal 3rd fewest recorded by any side this season. They've only had 11 to this stage of the game, so that just further emphasises how open this game has been.
Murphy goes to Smith. Now the blood rule. He's been spotted.
Hey, Dan, just on the blood rule, wow. I've always wanted... I think it's a player's duty to go off the ground. I mean, the reason the blood rule's in, there's a very good reason. Now, if a player's bleeding, they shouldn't try and hide from the umpire. It's a workplace. They should come off the ground by their own accord.
Well, they should identify themselves to the
I don't argue with
umpire,
that.
and the umpire stops the game.
I think it's wrong that
Yeah.
they try and stay on the ground, and every player does it. I think it's very wrong.
Well, Bird getting brushed down there now. Out of defence. High ball from Smith towards the wing. Richards was up, got a fist to it, knocked it down. Chance for McVeigh. Trying to wrestle it away there is Griffin. Couldn't get boot to ball that time. Through the legs of Dixon. Picked up by Wallace, and Wallace threw it on the boot and put it out of bounds on the
Come
foot.
around, thank you.
So the interesting thing here will be that if the Western Bulldogs can come out and play a second half to match the first, that's asking a fair bit, but they really have fallen away in the games we've seen this year, Tim, after half-time. There's a terrific strong mark taken by Pike. Pike lays it off to Jack. Will like it from here, not his best effort. Slides it wide, off hands and through for a minor score.
So that was impressive of Pike. He was up the ground. He sprinted back deep into the forward line, and then he came out and just took that very, very strong pack mark.
Short one comes to Boyd. So many positives for Brendan McCartney at half-time. Tom Harley
Go in,
has
David.
described McCartney as a great teacher.
You want to go in the middle?
If Tom says
Yeah,
it, that's
yeah.
good enough for me. Having said that, too, another great teacher, Ray Slug Jordan, passed away last week, and for those of us who knew him, we'll miss him. His impact on football can't be overstated. As the ball goes down towards the pocket, here's a chance for Addison. Addison, oh, well done. Jakira, the hips don't lie. Lovely move. Oh, he's missed. He missed it to the left. But, gee, that was a nice little shimmy to get through.
Good stuff.
Addison's doing a really good job. He's playing a defensive role on Shaw. Shaw's had just one disposal so far, so that's a bit of the Sydney Swan run that's actually dried up.
Good mark by Lake. It's been a pulsating first half. Murphy.
Oh, see, another turnover in that part of the ground.
And Murphy, unlike him, isn't it? I mean,
Yeah.
Grundy
Two
cutting it
players,
off.
he just split them.
Swans have got a few defenders that intercept really well. I mean, Richards probably the daddy of them all, but Grundy's not bad either. That's a good kick out wide by Hanbury. Goods, I reckon, has done enough, Tim.
Yep.
He hasn't been in sparkling form the last 8. He's back. He had the injury, I think the thigh injury, and he's going okay. Gee, this bloke, Pike, eh? It's his 13th consecutive match, or 14th today, so he wouldn't have had that continuity too often. For full forward and free kick, Mummy's got it. And the Swans are about to hit the front for the first time today, I reckon. Dogs have been in front by as much as 18 points. Sydney has not led at any stage in this match.
These big guys have been a real pain in the side, haven't they?
Well,
the
this
Western Bulldogs.
Tim, they've kicked 3 between them, about to kick 4, and this year they'd only kicked 10 goals between them coming in, so this has been a bonus, hasn't it?
Yeah.
And Longmire playing both of them on the ground at the same time, so 2 to Mummy and 2 to Pikey.
They've taken 6 marks now, those two blokes, inside the attacking 50. I mean, 4 of those are to Pike, 2 of those to Mumford, so they are really a thorn in the side.
So when you play them in the finals, Tim, they're committed to 2 big ruckmen, aren't they, the Swans?
Yep.
Okay, so when you're playing them in the final, it's going to be interesting how teams select how the opposition selects their teams to play against Mumford and Pike, knowing they've got 2 big guys, genuine ruckmen.
Well, Bruce, I think in answer to your question about Pike, before today, I don't think anyone would have been really worried about him as an offensive weapon, but he's shown more today on what we've seen than we've seen at any other time in his career, in his short career.
Knocked down by Minson, directed it down towards Griffin. Still Griffin going, emerges with the football. That was brilliant. To Smith, back to Griffin, pursuing him McVeigh. Griffin has been a master this afternoon, putting on a master class. That time can't control the footy. Good hustle from McVeigh, and the ball goes out of bounds. Griffin, that man, 24 possessions. He wants to come off. Well, can't blame him, but if you're the coach, just a short break. Tossed in, Mumford wins it. Shaw spinning, Wallace waiting, took him down.
We've talked about the lack of drive from Shaw and Jetta, and they're 2 players that give the Swans so much run and carry. A lot of sides are starting to put some real work into those 2 now.
And we've seen that today, haven't we? But the Swans have got their nose in front here. It's been hard going for them. They've had to really play an aggressive attacking type of game to do that. Minson almost handed it to Smith, to Addison. That was clever by Addison. We've talked about Dixon well cut off. Gee, Jack's had a good 10 minutes, hasn't he?
He has. He really, that moment where Smith went to the bench, it really got Kieran Jack into the game.
It's Mummy's boot, by the way, so Mummy about to go and get the boot put back on. So Minson and Pike. Talked a lot about Minson's good season and good game, but Pike's been a beauty today. Wallace's quick kick forward, and Malcheski, who at one stage this year wasn't quite in their best team, but he's back. What a great advertisement he is for the last surgery, and out goes Bird.
Should have those boards on his body to advertise it, Bruce. Away comes McGlynn. McGlynn goes inside the forward 50, not his best effort. Mark is taken down there on his chest by Lake, who just jabs it to the pocket. Young man who showed a bit last week, Roberts. Back to Lake on the kickoff line.
Thanks, Sam. You're right on it, mate.
So things have changed a bit. The Swans have got urgent. And as a result, they're up by a point.
And they've just started to hold them up in defence too, for the first time this afternoon.
Get on now, play on.
Roughhead out of defence. Minson, third man in the queue, almost marked in front by Mumford, falling to the ground, did well, gave it to Jack, stolen away by Addison. Addison, a New South Welshman who grew up barracking for the Swans, and his hero was Paul Kelly. Not a bad hero to have. Here's Teddy Richards.
Beauty. So Richards at centre wing. Sydney lead it by a point. Down the line, Goods the target. Goods got over the back of Pike. Reid getting it out. Quick kick by Bird to a very dangerous place. The bounce of the ball important. Markovic was just as quick as Roberts Thompson, and a boundary throw in.
Have a look at this knock Kieran Jack from Big Will.
And
maybe
yes,
contact with the stomp. Yep, there you go.
I noticed that before, actually. Didn't want to say anything, but it's out there now.
Well, we've had a stop. Remember Josh Hunt on Eddie Betts earlier this year? What did Hunt... Did Hunt get away with that with Eddie Betts? I'm just trying to remember.
No.
I think he got a fine of $1,350 if my memory serves me correctly.
Common thing in the committee household, of course, with the Beast.
Your wrestling son, Dennis. So
Yep.
here's Boyd belting the ball out wide. Grundy. Well held up by Cordy. Smith. If the ball goes out, I'll ask you about the Beast. The ball kicked forward. John Syracuse. Skinner's done a couple of nice things. He just dropped it down. Addison. Higgins.
Dylan Addison.
And the free kick. Is he fighting at the moment, the Beast?
He's in Perth at the moment, just getting his visa sorted out. He's off in a couple of weeks, I think, Bruce. There goes the kick inside the forward 50. That time he left the country. Comes across the ground, taken by McVeigh. All I do is watch him eat. McVeigh plays on to the overlap from Grundy. Little chip to half back. Missed there initially by Parker. Parker goes back, though. Nicely done to McVeigh. Drew a man over the top to O'Keefe, who's been, by his standards, quite quiet. He goes down the line. Could have almost been a free to Reid. And the ball goes out of bounds. Nothing doing for Reid.
You all right, mate?
8-4 players, 8-3. Sydney on top by the narrowest of margins. And the Dogs, one of their bright halves of the season so far. Jakira trying to find his way through the congestion. Went to ground. Minson stood his ground. Smith's got it. Can he get out? Kennedy right in his hip pocket. Awkward one. Came back to Smith. Gets a hand pass across to Griffin. He was almost tackled before the ball arrived. Well done by Goods. Knocked it down. Off balance Parker. Did well through a sea of legs. Not sure that's the collected now. And along the boundary goes the hand pass from Jack to McVeigh. Centering kick. Markovic from behind got a fist on it. O'Keefe turned the body as he arrived. He was tackled immediately. He's remonstrating. It's in the back. He's getting a free kick. I think even he's surprised. I think for a moment he thought he was going to go for holding the ball.
My angle looked like he landed his back.
No.
She's unlucky there,
Well said.
Murphy. I think Justin Blomfield's the not Justin Blomfield.
Bannister.
Jordan Bannister is the umpire, and he's just explained from his angle it looked like he'd gone into his back, but he really was caught on the wrong side.
He did everything but, didn't he, Murphy? I mean, right at the end, he brushed him, but he did everything humanly possible not to fall in his back. And there's the kick from O'Keefe, who I mentioned a moment ago had been quite quiet. Well, he had a good couple of minutes right there.
Yeah, so a bit fortunate, but his body, as Dennis said in the call, his body work was literally, he turned himself as he went in hard, and it was a great bit of play by O'Keefe, but Murphy was a bit stiff there, that's for sure.
Really stiff. He did everything he possibly could to avoid going into his back.
Been a good reply by the Swans, Tim.
It has. And just in this quarter, uncontested possessions are about even now, so they're just starting to get a little bit more flow in their play, the Sydney Swans, and a bit more ball on the outside. Just watch this again. I mean, Murphy did, this is textbook stuff. He did absolutely everything he possibly could. He falls to his knees first, so that's where he took the full weight of that, and unfortunately the umpire's on the wrong side of it.
So 17 minutes since a dog goal and 4 goals for the Swans unanswered at the moment, so they sneak a little lead now. Pike's been terrific. We've spoken a lot about him. LRT. Oh! He's a new man. It's taken 18 months, but he's just a different fella. He's had a makeover, LRT.
Well, what about the tap from Pike, though?
Pike's been brilliant.
Look at this, the 3 big blokes. You've got Mumford actually taking the tap in the first place. They get the ball forward, and just watch this bit of Pike here from Pike. Pike's been outstanding this afternoon, Kirky.
He has. He improves every week he plays. He obviously only picked the game up 3 years ago, so he's reading in the play and he's reading judgment in the air. They're the things that really start to improve in his footy.
And Kirky, LRT and Richards, I reckon they were joined at the hip for years. They always played alongside one another. I mean, did you see a forward in him?
Well, yeah, guys can go defensive to forward. I think he's just got he's such a workhorse and provides a contest every time. And when Reid was in there, just gives him a contest up there every day.
Put on the same day as Chris Judd, if you don't mind. 4th week in a row, he's got multiple goals. 6th time this season. McVeigh hit something hard as he was going through. He's down behind play. Meantime, the ball goes forward again. Leading back in the race is Roughhead. Roughhead heads for the line. Goods claiming there was no pressure on, but when Goods is in the vicinity, anywhere within about 15 metres would pressurise me.
Mumford's last 2 knocks from the centre bounce have been really decisive.
McVeigh's okay, he's to his feet, but he went into that pack with his head down. Here's Yong, who had a brilliant opening term with 9 possessions, overshadowed, of course, by Griffin 16. And Roughhead, they're determined to make him a key defender, and it seems to be working at the present time as we count down to half-time, just a couple of minutes to go. Kick towards the wing, in from the side, almost to Cordy, spills to Boyd. Wallace, pursued by Malcheski, gets a hand pass back towards Cordy, if you don't mind. Cordy took it well, but the hand pass was ambitious. Kennedy, Richards back to Kennedy. Got a couple of men towards the middle, thought about it, doesn't go, should have, as it turned out, because Murphy's got the football, lays it off, but misses the target. Too low for Lake. Now they've got a problem. The speedster Jetta goes to Goods. And in the twinkling of an eye, an opportunity for the Dogs turned into disaster.
And they've taken control of the midfield now. Sydney, 14 of the last 16 inside 50s have gone at their end of the ground. And once again, it was a turnover at that critical part of the ground. And Murphy involved again. I mean, we know he intercepted so well, but they just couldn't seal the deal then and keep possession of the ball.
What do we say, Murphy? The best face we can put on it, although the kick's going to let them off the hook. Off hands, still a live ball. There's Wood waiting for the ball to bounce. Does that. Just loops it across looking for Lake. And he gets another one, Lake, at his feet there. So a couple of back-to-back hand passes that he would have liked better delivered.
Good injury concern. Jared McVeigh's just come off. Looks really hobbling. Looks like he might have caught one in the neck. Looks really sore.
Maybe those guys hand passing to Lake Tim are allowing for refraction. Here's an opportunity for O'Keefe. Smothered off the boot. Ricochets across towards Gian Siracusa over the football. Slung. Good hand pass comes out from Mumford. Gave it to Matner. Down goes O'Keefe. Or was it Hanbury? Hanbury. O'Keefe went down as well in a chain reaction. Matner feeds it back to Jack. Getting a hand in there was Roughhead. Picked up by Parker. Over the football and doing well was Griffin. Ricochets off a body. Bird tracks it. And the ball goes out of bounds. We'll have a throw in.
That was a great passage of defensive play then. When Sydney was sent there, see Jared McVeigh, Kirky believes that he may have had a knock on his head. He's just pointing that there with the club physio now. Just great pressure from both sides.
Looks like he had a Panadol in his hand too, didn't he? He might have a headache. Wallace. You know, the Dogs matched Sydney there for that minute or two of high intensity, didn't they?
Swans have definitely ramped up their intensity.
There you see McVeigh just going into the body there. Just watch this front on, and it was Boyd that he ran into when there's nothing for Boyd to worry about in making the contact, but no wonder he's got a headache.
Minson to Boyd, and then they had to go and fetch it again. So that ball not quite out. Boyd does get it out. Jetta, whose kick a minute ago was just beautiful to Goods. No, and what a good first half we've seen. So McVeigh, maybe a headache or two. Not sure what we expected coming in. Not that scoreline. 18 first half goals, some brilliant individual efforts.